Sorry, 1 second here.
I'm going to go to your page too.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am here with Jenna Madden. I have known her now for quite a number of years. I would say at least 5, but we've been working together for, oh gosh, 2 or 3 years. I can't even remember how. 3?
Yeah.
We'll see. That's crazy. Yeah, so I wanted to introduce Jenna and share a little bit more about our stories together, because when I first met her, I literally had zero confidence in myself, in my business, in what I was doing. And at that point, I'd already been in business for 8 or 9 years, like doing my work professionally, and I didn't have a sustainable business model, and I didn't know how to actually get to the next level or any other level other than just burning myself out doing consistent one-on-one private sessions all the time. So if you don't know Jenna, she is an incredible New Earth Feminine leadership mentor. And like I said, we've been on this journey for quite some time. She helps feminine leaders scale to 6 figures and beyond. She's really well in tune with all the energetics, but also strategy.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited for this conversation, and I feel like an activation for anyone who is listening to this. And I remember that state of where you were at in your business so well. And honestly, like, you go down in my books as like the legend. I refer to you sometimes with other clients of just like, yeah, like I mean, like, no one, I don't know that I've ever come across has hit the threshold that you've kind of set as the benchmark in my mind for someone who was, I want to say, like, truly kind of, I don't want to say trapped, but really embodying the time for money model, where you still blow me away to this day when we've talked about the amount of sessions that you have done with people. Like, I actually don't know if I've met anyone who has done the amount of healing and coaching sessions with people as you. And I feel like that's super amazing and powerful, and just speaks to how experienced at your craft you are, while also loving to see the evolution that you've had, where now that's just a piece of your business and it's not like the whole thing.
No, absolutely. Because I felt like at that time I had kind of reached that glass ceiling where I knew there was more to business and what I could be experiencing, how the impact was that I could be making. Not that I don't enjoy one-on-one sessions, I absolutely do. But now I have different ways of impacting people and helping them just beyond sessions. Because for me, what was missing was how to actually guide people properly. So in healing sessions, they're great, but technically you're not supposed to give that kind of advice. But now I'm in the position where I've had so much experience, so much time, that beyond sessions, I have so many resources, other things that they can do and progress into, just so they actually know what it is that they're actually doing in life.
Yeah. I feel like you are such a great representation of where, like, healing and mentorship and coaching have really intersected, because I do think that there's a place for both. And I feel that there's so many of us as practitioners who have healing modalities and experiences that we do, or that we infuse into our relationships with our clients. But I also feel like a lot of the elevation as leaders is to also become, like, more experienced and skilled at the facilitation, and also helping people for, like, the long term. And it's not like you were just giving people band-aids by any means, but I feel like when we just see people for like a session, or even if they keep booking the sessions, it's like very much for the client a lot of the time, like they're looking to get like the quick relief kind of from the session, whether we're talking business, physical ailments, all of the things where we just kind of want the answers, or like the solution, or just to feel better. And I feel like just seeing the things that you have created that has interwoven all of this has created, at least in my perception, a lot of lasting transformational results for clients, that also still weaves in the healing and the amazing work that you do in sessions. But it's gone like so much deeper, and you've become so much more confident, I feel, to like take up space online and like in a bigger leadership capacity as well.
Absolutely. And it's just interesting too, because even when I first started the healing journey, it kind of blows my mind even to this day. It's an obvious thing, But beyond the healing session, it's how you're being after that session. It's not just the session. Yeah, it can change so much within you, and there's so much merit to it. But then it's how you apply that in your day to day, and how can you actually be in integrity with yourself, and how do you move forward. So that's why I'm creating more of like the ongoing support, not just healing, but also like how people can create in their lives too.
Exactly. Yeah, like I feel like we should zoom back to when we first met. I mean, we were, I know, connected online through like network marketing and like-minded and common friends that we had, but we hadn't really talked too much until we actually connected and met. So I feel like that should be fun. Should I share? Do you think you should share how we first actually like really met?
Oh gosh, well, it's up to you, but it's hilarious because on my end, like you had, what was it, that package that you were raffling off for
Yeah,
that New Work Leader Summit, I think it was.
yes. It was exactly 3 years ago. Like it was May, or actually I think June.
It was
Uh,
June.
yeah, and Spencer, my husband, and I hosted the New Earth Leadership Summit, which a little shameless plug that we're doing a 2.0 of that this summer. So I can't wait. I know you're going to be a part of it. We're still organizing it. But you came, and like what an incredible event that was. And Spence and I, we went big as we normally do. So we're like, you know what? We're going to raffle off some stuff like packages with us, and like the VIP, like the top winning raffle prize was to come for a VIP weekend with me and Spence to just like completely go into all of the things. And yeah, we pulled your name.
Yeah, I remember it was getting close to the deadline to actually entering in your name. And I saw it come up for like the fifth time. So I literally locked myself into a bathroom because I was busy throughout the day doing stuff. And I was like, I need to enter this. So I locked myself in the bathroom and I just spent the 5 minutes filling out all the stuff that I needed to, made sure I had it in. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to go for a hike. And it's so funny because I was hiking up Mount Doug in Victoria. And it was the moment that I got to the top. And I think the sun was starting to go down a little bit. Like it was probably around 7 or 8 o'clock or something like that. But I just remember seeing the sun rays, being on top of the mountain. And then all of a sudden, I got the message from you and saw the post that I had actually won. It was the most intense experience that I've ever had because before that, I never won anything. I enter into things here and there, but I've never really won much. So probably a couple of weeks before that, I started actually telling myself that I'm lucky and I win things and
That's
started to change
amazing.
that story that I don't win anything. And then that happened. And it just completely blew my mind because I was not expecting it. And I knew for some reason that I had to enter. I knew it was going to completely change my life if I did. I just didn't know how. And when I found out that I had to literally go to where you guys were and there was no cell reception and I hadn't been, separated out of my marriage for long. So our custody thing was, kind of up in the air as well. So I was terrified to leave the island, have no cell service on a time where I didn't have my child just in case there was an emergency. So I had all these like crazy fears in my head around actually going. And the old me would have just been like, well, maybe I just don't go. But I literally forced myself to do everything that I needed to make sure that I could be there and spend that weekend with you guys, which it was, again, the most intense weekend I've ever had. I don't think I've ever like downloaded anything so fast in my life than my new business model. So clearly I was ready, but you guys had the space, you had the structures in place, you had everything that I needed to just offload what it was that I wanted.
That I love hearing your version of this. And I don't think I ever heard about the lock yourself in the bathroom part. So I'm glad we're talking about this. And I love that so much. And I mean, yeah, I mean, it turned out good because I mean, we weren't murderers or anything. So that was great. You came out to our place in the backwoods on a
There's
whim.
another little tiny fear. I was like, well, what if they're not who they say they are?
Totally. And you came and it happened really quick. Like I think you won and we were like, okay, well, when works? And
Later.
it happened really fast. Like you were at our house like the same month. And we spent time, we worked on the business. We went to some waterfalls. We had some crazy
That
activation.
cacao ceremony was nuts there.
I'll never forget that. We had some amazing experiences that I felt like formed the foundation for a lot of where your business is now, a lot of our friendship and relationship that has just beautifully blossomed over the years, that we've got to hang out in person multiple times. I've got to see your evolution. We've got to like really intermingle a lot of our ecosystem and communities together. Like that, I feel like was just the catalyst of so much that was and is to come that stemmed from, I mean, really like something pretty random of us getting the idea to package that off, the fact that you want it. And I mean, since then, we've been working together on your business ever since. And also you've supported me and Spencer so much on our ascension, on our healing. And I mean, so many multidimensional levels I can't even begin to explain, which I'm so honored, because I think one of the biggest things that's allowed us to support someone like you who is so multidimensional is the fact that we've really got to receive and experience your work to see just how profound and powerful it is, which I mean, we already believed in you, but really experiencing that makes it, I feel like, so much easier in a way to actually help and support and streamline things, which has been such an honor for me on my path with you.
Absolutely. And it's been such an honor for me to work with you and to also see your evolution too. Because when we first started, you were doing a lot of like just the business coaching side, which was fantastic. The strategy was just fantastic. But now you've really gone into more of the energetics and just combining everything that you know, because you've done healing work too. You've done that whole side of things. You know a lot about the ascension side. And it's just so cool to see how you mix that with business and how you help women actually break past all those barriers. And just to see you grow in that too has been really incredible to be a part of that journey. Because I know when I first started working with you, I was maybe making like 800 bucks a month, which was insane at the time.
And hard money, like you were working so hard for it too.
So burnt out for like 800 bucks a month, like it's pretty insane to look back. And then to, go up to consistent like 4K. I even hit 5K months working with you, which was really incredible. Like my classes that I was struggling to fill before, they started to fill so easy. And it felt like I barely had to try. It's not that I'm not trying, but everything was just so aligned with what I was looking for at the time. And anytime that I hit those dips in my business, I have to figure out what isn't aligned anymore, because what was working obviously is not going to work all the time or continuously. And you have to grow and evolve, because business grows, you grow. And you've really helped me hone in on my messaging, because for me, that's the hardest part, is messaging, getting my point across, connecting with people in that way to where they understand what it is that we're doing. So it's been such an honor to actually have that level of support from you too, to make something that's so hard for me so easy.
Thank you for sharing that. And, I think the cool part within your business of what I've seen is like, yeah, there's a lot more ease. It's way more scalable now because you have offers that you have like the capacity for, while still doing a bit of one-on-one as well. And I think one of the most exciting things I see of like where you're going in your life and business is truly you're at that point where you're establishing multiple streams of income and more passive income and income that is like more diversified. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about more as New Earth women and leaders. Is it's so great to have our coaching or our healing business, and like the sky is the limit for what we can receive and create through it. And I feel like part of like really being innovative, smart women is also to not like pigeonhole ourselves and actually allow ourselves to create and do other things outside of that, and allow our coaching healing business to kind of be like a cash flow foundational piece that creates more flexibility that we can pursue some of these other things. And that's what I really love, is you're not just attached to like the idea of like you have to get your business to one level and like that's it. It's like you are holding a bigger vision that includes other things as well, and those things are starting to really happen and take off.
Yeah, they are. And it's so fun too, because I know for me, like I need variety of things. some people are very consistent. They just need one thing and hone in on that one thing. For me, that's not the way that it is. So I had to take into consideration what are certain things that I really love and feel really passionate about. It doesn't matter like how ridiculous it might seem, right? But I've taken a couple things that I really love and then starting to make them into businesses for those multiple streams. And then I get to also really satisfy myself with my current business that feels good and is impacting. But there's so many ways as multidimensional women we can actually impact the world around us. We don't have to do just one thing. We don't just have to do healing. We can create other businesses that help people get out of similar things that we've experienced in the past, right? Or to help them in their day-to-day that's different from the healing coaching, but also very collaborative in a way and just synchronistic too.
Yeah, and I feel like this goes perfectly with the theme of today of really allowing ourselves to expand our confidence and to take up more space, because I feel so many of us are, and it sounds kind of cliche, but we're kind of thinking small, we're kind of playing small. But if we ask the question of why, I mean, a lot of the time it's because we're in our old patterns, we're in our wounding, and also we don't really have the support system, and we don't have anyone around us saying like, yeah, you can do that. Like, that is a great idea. That we feel like we have that kind of permission, both internal and external, to take up more space. Like, what would you say has been like the biggest kind of shift for you on your journey to take up more space, whether that is, you know, your price increases, the offers that you're putting out there, the amount of marketing that you're doing? Like, what do you feel like has shifted in your relationship to that?
Oh, geez. So I think it's a bit of everything that you mentioned. Like, it's the fact that I have multi offers now, and I did increase all of my prices as well across the board because, 12 years experience and the amount I've invested in myself, it needs to reflect in that as well. So I think the main thing, like I've mentioned before, was the confidence. Because
Yeah.
before I did not have the confidence to raise my prices or to create new offers. I also just didn't know how to go about any of that either. Like I didn't have like a guidepost,
Yeah.
any sort of strategy whatsoever. So it's been really nice seeing the type of offers that you create and what it is that you do so I can see the structure and all the different trainings that you have, but then also make it my own, something that feels really good to my business and supportive to me, supportive to my clients, because that's the biggest shift, I think, is having those in place so that I can truly enjoy the things that I really value. So being supportive to my clients, but also having time for my family.
Yeah.
I can't just be in business 24/7, open all the time, calls all the time. That is not me, and it's never going to be me. I will never allow my business to take away from being present with my family and showing up for their events, right? Like my daughter's dance or her sports events, things like that.
I think you hit the nail on the head. And like you said, there's layers to this, but one of the biggest things, and I had a mentor say this to me probably around the time, maybe a little before I think you and I met, but I remember I was doing kind of the early things that many of us do on our journey, where like my calendar was open 24/7. I was always available. And I mean, it was like underlying scarcity of like, well, if I'm not always available and charging, less, then people won't work with me. And I was wanting to grow and scale. And this mentor had said to me that everything would shift for me once I started to value my time more. And I was like, I do. I value my time. And now years later, I can see like the shift that's happened and how this naturally happens for all of us on our journey, where we start to really prioritize presence with our family. And we realize like our business is such a great creative outlet and can be a great financial support for us and revenue stream, but also that we're almost like more of service to ourselves and our community when we really own the power of the work that we do. We go into like the depths of our expertise, we keep growing as facilitators. And then it almost to me seems like a natural progression too, because there are lots of new healers and coaches coming into this space, which I think is great. There's more than enough to go around, and it's just a part of the progression of the healing and the elevation of consciousness, where of course many people will leave their jobs and step into their gifts. But I feel like by us like raising our prices, valuing ourselves, growing our business models, it's actually like creating the space for the new people as well, to come in. Like we can't be seasoned practitioners and necessarily still treating ourselves and our business like we are brand new. So I feel like the more we own our journey around that and we continue, because it's always ongoing, but we continue to elevate, which doesn't always even mean prices, but it's just elevate how we lead, what kind of work we do. It's creating spaciousness, I feel like, in the industry as well.
Oh, I so agree. Because with those new people coming in, they need a space to be, and we can't, well, I'm not saying that we can't take up all the space because there is more than enough space, but it just gives everyone a chance to create a sense of harmony together so that we're
Yeah.
all working together, collaborating in some capacity, opening the space a little bit more, which is really nice. And there's just variety. So those that people resonate with or need to work with the most, they have all those options available to them. So I'm glad there's so many of us in the space for people to choose from now, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was not like.
No, I mean, it shifted. I mean, you truly are like an OG in that sense, where, I mean, you were working at like physical clinics and then came into the online world, like really at the cusp of when it was becoming a thing. So you've seen so much of the evolution of the industry. And even in the 3 years or so that we've been working together and you've been a part of my mastermind, I mean, you've seen the evolution of me and my work. You've seen the evolution of my mastermind. You've seen the evolution of a lot of the women that we get to co-create with as well. And it's definitely has been an evolution, I would say, to where things are at today.
Absolutely. I've always loved the Catalyst and how it's been. I even forget what it was used to be called because it changed the
Collective.
name. Collective, yes. And the women in there was funny because I don't think I ever told you this, but when I first came in and just saw the level of women in there, I was like, I don't belong here.
That's a really common thought. I hear this a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really intense because I'm like, here's all these fabulous, incredible, smart, very expansive women. I'm like, what am I doing here? So, I mean, and now I actually feel like more than a part of it. It feels like family being in there and having the level of support from the other women. Like it's not just you, which is great. Like a true mastermind. All the women collaborate together. We've all done stuff together. We do calls together. We each hold space to hold calls as well to support one another. It's an incredible space to be in when you have so many women who are living their purpose and really loving what they do and just seeing oh, how connected they are to their own soul gifts. It's incredible to be in that similar space because I do feel like that's what expands you when you're surrounding yourself with those similar type of women who are, spiritual, who are helping and guiding people, who are constantly growing. It kind of helps you to stay more accountable for yourself.
Yeah, I thank you. And I so agree. And I mean, if I'm being honest, I've many times had thoughts come into my field where I'm like, who am I to like facilitate and to host this? Because somehow it's kind of like you winning the thing with us. It's like kind of perceiving luck where, I'm like, I am actually so blessed to get to work with the caliber of women that come into this program and into this space that I know I'm worthy and capable and I do hold the space for this, but also it kind of blows me away of just how magical and different and unique each and every one of you really are. And I think that one of the biggest things on a non-business level, because of course there's lots of that going on, but in a non-business way is like the leadership space and the healing of the sisterhood wound, because almost every single woman I think comes in and regardless of her business level, we're all really good at what we do. So some women are newer in their business. Some people are like pivoting. And so it's like a big 360. Some women are in a really good place and they're continuing to grow. But I really do see for almost every single woman that has or will or has been in or is in this space, there's some level of, is it safe for me to take up space? Wow, these are really amazing women. And then as we soften into it, as women get to know each other, then a lot of magic happens, a lot of bonding happens that I feel is like directly correlated to our marketing and stuff too, to actually give ourselves permission to take up more space. Because if we can be vulnerable, if we can take up space on like a coaching call, if we can actually connect and network with, a dozen other women who are amazing women, I feel like we start to open ourselves as well, like in a more marketing business capacity, to kind of be like, yeah, I can do this. Because so many of us are kind of like lone wolves, entrepreneurship can be a little lonely. A lot of the time we don't want to share the behind the scenes of what it really takes to grow business. And so then we're often comparing ourselves to other women and different things. So coming in is like a pretty, I would say, healing experience within itself indirectly.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. And the thing that I love the most about you being a leader within it as well, and the creator of it, obviously, is that you don't have that sense of ego that many business people that I've met do. You're actually real, you're transparent, and you give so much more than just like a one sentence, here's what you implement in your business. Here's how become a millionaire tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no weird, sketchy sales tactics in that sense. It's all real and it's all very much in alignment with how you actually need to be as a business owner. And also when you're learning more things in business too, like you give very detailed, educational resources that you've created yourself, which I think is intense. Like there's so much in the resources and in what you can learn that I'm always going back to things even from like a year ago, 2 years ago, and I can always find something that I need to help streamline my business even further. So there's just unlimited things that are there.
Yeah, I so appreciate that. And I feel like that's a really good point, and it's very much my intention because we are all in different seasons of our business. Women come into this mastermind, and sometimes it's really a season of like skill building and learning. And so sometimes women come in and they're like, you know what, I'm like total shit at marketing or sales, or I'm like redoing my offers. And so like that is hugely beneficial for them to have these resources. And then there's other women where like they're pretty solid in all the areas. So they're much more in like the real-time implementation where they're doing things. And then it becomes more of kind of a holistic doctor model where I'm prescribing stuff where it's like, oh, you're working on your launch. Okay, here, we talk about it. And then it's like, also, you might want to go to this section, listen to this 20-minute launch strategy just to kind of build on what we're talking about. And then there's some really good prompts there, or there's a template. And I feel like that works really well for women because in a true mastermind, I think educational resources are a part of it, but it's not the same as like a group coaching program where you're coming in to like do this one thing or learn this thing. And it's like very content focused. So I feel like this is a space that incorporates that element, but really works on like an individual level with what each woman like actually needs and requires in order to grow. Because it's just, I don't think we can blanket and make it generic because we are all at different points of what we really need in order to grow and thrive in our businesses.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you don't do just like, here's a copy paste method. It works for everybody because it's not true. And like you said, everyone's in different seasons. And that's what I appreciate so much about you is that you can look at where someone is and direct them to what they need the most and also guide them through it as well. It's just great to be able to go into the catalyst, to go into the chat, to put in what we're doing, but even having those sections of where we get to celebrate things together, where we actually get to ask for feedback on what we're doing. Like you do those weekly feedbacks on what we're doing for marketing. So we get better, more personalized support, which, it's just, you can't put a price on things like this. It's just been hugely beneficial to have all of that within it. So thank you so much for creating this and for supporting me for so long.
Yeah, it's truly an honor and such a co-creative process, for all of us. Like we give, we receive, we connect, we collaborate, we all learn from each other. Like that's one of the biggest things I see, like within our community, within our calls, of everyone softening and sharing with each other where we're learning. It's like, oh, I could see how I could apply that to me, or oh, I never thought of this in that way, or like, oh, I actually am struggling with that, didn't even realize it till I heard someone else say it. Like there's so much of that goes on that I feel illuminates things for us that we like didn't even know was really there under the surface, or we couldn't put words to it. And this is where I feel like, of course, there's a place for private mentorship, which I mean is blended into this experience. But I feel like this is where, when done well, the group side of things can actually really elevate so much for us, even faster in some instances, because we can learn from each other. And it's in real time is dissolving that like comparison competitive stuff of not wanting to like copy people, but instead we can actually truly learn from each other, and people aren't weirdly offended if someone does something similar to them or has a similar niche or what have you, where we're truly all learning and growing together. And it's truly my mission to bring that energetic forward, both with the women who directly work with me, of how I can create that experience for them, but also I feel like within this industry of how can we disrupt things, how can we support the new paradigm by like embodying this ourselves, but also like bringing women into experience, what is it like on the inside, so that they can potentially take what works for them and apply it to their business model as well. Because I think the less we're like gatekeeping in this industry, the easier and the better the whole industry is going to thrive. It's such a weird time where things are changing, but we're in like that real-time transformation as an industry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I guess maybe on that note, perhaps I should share a little bit about the free event that's coming up. So if anyone is watching us live or on the recording, or they're listening to this in the month of June of 2023, then you can come and actually be a part of this event if you're open to me sharing about it.
Yeah, of course. And the link is already in the description to this as well, but it is soulmeetstrategy.com/open house. But yes, absolutely. Please share, because anything that I've experienced and I truly believe in, I want people to know about. If I haven't experienced it, I can't put it forward. But since I have been with you for so long, like I'm so confident in what it is that you do and sharing that with the people that I know. So yeah, tell them more about it.
Thank you, Cassandra. Yes. So what I've created is an open house experience into the Catalyst Mastermind. So just like in real estate, where we can go and kind of like scope things out and check things out, I feel like in this industry, what a lot of us are craving are more experiences. We don't want to just be talked at, we don't want to just be sold to. And so I decided to create an experience where, like, let's take all the best aspects of what I'm already doing with my clients in this mastermind and create a free experience for, I mean, really two things: women who might want to check it out for themselves and see, like, could this support me? Come in, check it out, experience it, and then you'll know. And also, even if women are listening to this and they're like, oh, I'm already in something, or this isn't the time for me, this I still feel is a really great educational event for women to come and learn and see, oh, wow, like, okay, this mastermind's been running for 3.5 years. And in this industry, so many masterminds flop, and or they're not actually masterminds, they're just glorified group programs that aren't personal at all. So I feel like coming in to really learn like what's worked for me, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and apply it to group programs and mentorship in general in order to like be that change in this industry. So I have taken all really of the aspects of what we do inside this mastermind, which is essentially a leadership business mastermind for women who, yes, they want to grow their revenue, they want to 2x to 5x their cash, because who doesn't? But they also want to do it in a sustainable way, and they want to grow themselves as leaders in the process so that they can really receive the higher caliber clients. They can receive the money that they desire, and they can also make a more lasting transformational impact with the work that they do. So inside, we are doing a 2-hour coaching call, the same kind of format of the way I run the calls with my actual mastermind women like Cassandra. So you can come in and like really get some support. We've got live activations with me, because in our container, it really isn't just business. It's a part of it, but sometimes we're channeling Lemurian dolphin activations. Sometimes we're doing other things. So that is woven in to this as well. The women, like you said earlier, they get access to my courses and my other programs. So I'm literally giving away one of my courses for women who are registered in this program to get that side of the experience of how I teach, and what I talk about. So that's already happening now. And we've got my two amazing current support coaches coming in to do a live kind of transmission of their magic with some Q&A support. And there's more going on in there, but those are just some of the highlights of what's happening in this free experience that's happening this month.
Yeah, and you've already started putting stuff in there, like it starts next week. We've already put recorded audios and journal prompts. And even though I've worked with you for 3 years, I'm loving those as well. And I'm doing them too. So it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if it's like free or really high end. It's all stuff that can really benefit. And I do all of the stuff that you put forward because I love it. It's just so well thought out and so well executed. And it's just powerful to implement.
Thank you, Cassandra. Yeah, I feel like a good sign for all of us in our business is when we create, whether it's free or paid things, if our current clients want to participate, like it's a good sign that it's valuable. And it's a part of that shift, of not creating just window shopper experiences, that it's all like surface level and fluff where we're just, doing boring slides saying, hey, and then now that you know what your problem is, if you want to solve it, join my thing. Like that stuff's just kind of
so
dying. Maybe it's already dead, but this is where I feel like a lot of us, we want to come in and have like real value and real experiences. So, even at the time that we're doing this chat together, there's women in there that have already like had a big breakthrough and a shift, and we haven't even really started the event yet. And we're getting such good feedback on the content that I've already been kind of dripping in there just to give everyone something to bite into as well.
Yeah, amazing. It's
amazing.
So good.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. And I feel like, anyone who is listening back to this, if this has been in resonance for you, then I invite you, come check it out and feel invited, not obligated. But I feel pretty confident that if anyone's made it this far into our conversation today, they're probably going to get a lot out of this free experience that is going to expand them to a whole other realm.
Oh, absolutely. Like I've mentioned, I get so much out of everything that you do, no matter what it is. So yeah, I can't wait for it to fully kick off next week.
Same. Thank you so much for having me on here with you to have a chat. And I know that you've already, like you said, you shared the link so people can check it out and learn more and can register to get access.
Yay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jenna, for joining me today and for everything that you've done over the last 3 years. Like, I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so grateful for our business connection, but then also our friendship too.
Likewise, I love you too. And thank you for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you.